Good morning, everybody. This is Martin John, and I'm going to look second day in a row. What the hell, Garcia? What are you doing? This is Tao of the Day. Just checking out Noon Vibe a little bit. It was nice yesterday when I did it. Many people listened, so that was nice. No one came up. Always looking for people to come up and pick a number between 1 and 81. And we can talk a little bit about the Tao Te Ching. The Tao Te Ching is an ancient text written about 600 BCE, presumably by a guy Lao Tzu. I look at the Tao as happening early in the whole history, right? In written history. Relatively early, of course, there were things being written, I think 3000 BC. But that's an interesting thing because everything kind of exists on a curve where, it slowly ramps up. It's not like the day is just like a light switch and it turns on. The sun slowly comes up and it slowly goes down, right? So that is how I see all things working, right? When you age and you go from, 6 to 8, you are focusing on different things in your life, right? Like you're focusing on different parts of development. And so it ramps up, peaks, and then it comes back down. It settles into a new normal. Well, this is what happens, I think, with our relationship to consciousness. We talk about millennia. Things shift over time. And when we look at the history of humanoids and people who thought and think with the frontal lobe the way we do, we can really kind of see that we went from a survival way back before written word, of course, and then we transitioned into a relationship oriented society. And then we transitioned to a logic-oriented society. And now we're transitioning into more of a spiritual rendition of society. And this was written as we were moving into the logic realm of living, of consciousness. And so as we're moving back into a different way of relating with consciousness, this is a good book to be able to address. So yeah, so let's see. Kyle is on. We're gonna go ahead and take Kyle. A check mark that is red. It used to be purple. Red is always like stop, but I think this is a go. Kyle, how are you, man? Kyle, you're muted. I don't know if that's because you're taking a call or just muted yourself. I usually give people about a minute or two. I forgot again to change my time. On your end, it is going to be 15 minutes, but on mine, it's going to be like 4 minutes less than that. Julie just reached out and she's asking for number 48. So although I got Kyle on, I'm going to, because he's muted at the moment. I don't know if that's on purpose or on accident. I'll keep him on for now. And I'm going to read 48, which is what Julie wrote to have me read. So number 48 is entitled "The More You Know." When I was a kid, we had these like G.I. Joe PSAs. And I think it was G.I. Joe. It was like, "The more you know." Or no, that was "Knowing is half the battle." But "The More You Know" was some sort of a PSA that we got, a public service announcement that we got when I was a kid. And when I wrote this, I was like sort of tipping my hat to the idea of this, the more you know, the more you grow, the more you know. And that's, that in the ad, it's a good thing. But let's see what it has to say here. Pursuing knowledge, you accumulate daily, turning your true nature into a commodity. Pursuing Tao, you unburden daily, allowing your true nature to guide you. The master unburdens herself again and again, diminishing, releasing, and deprogramming, until finally there is nothing left to be. When there is nothing to be, there is nothing to do, and everything gets accomplished regardless. I really like this verse. I'm gonna go through it. Again, Kyle is still on. I'm gonna take him off just because he is muted, and that's cool. But I don't know if that's a problem with the phone or if he's just listening to me and he can't respond. So we can try and get him on again. Okay, the more you know. Pursuing knowledge you accumulate daily. When I first ran across this years and years ago, Julie is going to come on. She didn't have internet, so. Hey, Julie, how are you?
I'm all right. I might come in and out this internet, but I just wanted to join you in hope that we could
Chat a little bit about number
yeah.
48. Yeah. All right, well, I'll read it again for you.
Thank you.
All right. Pursuing knowledge you accumulate daily, turning your true nature into a commodity. Pursuing Tao you unburden daily, allowing your true nature to guide you. The master unburdens herself again and again, diminishing, releasing, and deprogramming, until finally there is nothing left to be. When there is nothing to be, there is nothing to do, and everything gets accomplished regardless.
Sounds good to me, Martin John.
Yeah, I like this idea. This is something, because I never really did well in school. Pursuing knowledge you accumulate daily. And when I see that, I'm just like, I always have this picture of like lugging like this big bag on your back, or lugging all of this information with you all the time, and then having to accumulate more information. I mean, think about the world today with all of the, there was a time where you'd have to buy a book or join a course to learn something. Now, someone learns that and then wants to turn that into a commodity. So they turn around and they sell these ideas that they pick up from other people, so that, and so now the amount of information, the amount of knowledge that is out there for us to engage with is so overwhelming, and at the same time underwhelming, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do.
Right?
I like the idea that what you said is accumulating is like baggage, because it is accumulating baggage of the brain.
Right.
So then you've got this really hoarded kind of mess in your head, and it kind of stops the flow of the rest of you, your heart, say.
Yeah. Right.
So, sometimes offloading it all and just not thinking about gaining knowledge, not having to feel that it is going to become a commodity, because that's why we do it.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And commodity, although we're in a very, we're both Northern Hemisphere, like consumeristic societies that we live in, right? Like when we talk about commodity, we also often talk about something that can be sold, but it doesn't always have to be sold for money. It could be sold for value of other sorts, right? It could be sold for attention. It could be sold like a commodity is just something that you're trading.
An accolade. You can sell it for an accolade. You can sell it for respect. You can sell it for value.
You can sell it for a noom vibe, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and it's always like turning it into a product. You have just turned yourself, your true nature, into a product because you have pursued knowledge and you're holding on to all this knowledge. Now, when we look at the next line, pursuing Tao, you unburden daily, allowing your true nature to guide you, meaning you're not doing this out of fear of not having enough.
Yeah, for me, it's almost, I think of knowledge as a flow. So anything that I said or interacted with or learned about yesterday is gone. It's gone.
Mm-hmm.
You could ask me questions about it, and I probably wouldn't be able to really get the gist of what happened yesterday.
Right.
Because it's gone, because I need to feel free enough to experience today.
One of the things that I really love about living is that I've found out that I don't need to remember.
That's right.
Like my mind, like I don't need to remember. I was actually talking to someone the other day, and I know that this experience happened to her. She was on a plane. She was very scared, and the person next to her asked her if she would like to hold her hand while she was on the plane. And she did, and she was like, "Oh my God, it just helped me so much relax." And I was like, "Well, that's beautiful. I'm glad that that happened." Now, fast forward a year and a half. This person's working in a bar, and she comes up to somebody who recently, their husband died, and they're an only mother now. Like they're a single mother now of two, and she's feeling overwhelmed and all of this stuff. And this person who had her hand held on a plane a year and a half ago said, "Would you like to hold my hand?" And asked that person, that guest in the bar that she was working at, to hold her hand. And the woman who was the recent widow said, "Oh my God, this is the nicest thing anyone's ever done for me." Now, the person who I'm talking about that offered to hold the hand didn't recall the hand holding on the plane a year and a half ago. And I said, "Well, that's beautiful, because this happened to you." And she was like, she started to cry and forgot about the fact that had happened to her. And so this lives within you. You don't have to recall in order to benefit from the experiences that you've lived. You don't have to recall those
Absolutely.
experiences. They will come through you. You are not the one in control.
You're
Now,
the vessel.
right.
That's it.
You're just a vessel. And if she would have ran around saying, "I have to repay this debt of hand holding," then it wouldn't have been her true nature. Her true nature would have been turned into a commodity, because it's a debt now, and it
Yeah.
would pay off a debt. And that's not why we're here. That's not what we're here to do.
Yeah.
The master unburdens herself again and again, diminishing, releasing, and deprogramming. This is all identity. This is all like, get rid of it. Like this who you were yesterday is no longer who you need to be today.
Mm-hmm. In
Diminish,
fact,
release,
it is.
deprogram.
It's not. Yeah, it's not you. It's just
No,
plain and simply not you, whether you need to be or not. You're not that person
right.
yesterday. You're that person today. Yeah.
That's right. Until
Right.
finally there is nothing left to be. You don't have to be anything. You don't have to have an identity. You don't have to be anything.
Yeah.
And when there's nothing to be, there's nothing to do. And I really like that. And this is where we start getting into the idea of like non-doing. When you don't have an identity, when you don't have a persona that you're trying to live up to, when you're not living under the influence of your parents and the economic structure and all of this, all of a sudden there's nothing to do. Because the only reason you're doing in the first place is so that you can have status, so that you can be who you can prove you are, who you say you are, so that you can have the commodity of your knowledge. And so once there's nothing to do, once there's nothing to be, there's nothing to do. And then the next line just wraps this up beautifully. And everything gets accomplished regardless.
Yeah.
Everything is going to continue to go on, and you're going to continue to achieve, quote unquote, things, but you won't see them as achievements, because you no longer have to do anything in order to be you. All of that starts to fall away.
Sounds great. It's inspiring. And I say that with a huge smile on my face.
It is,
It's a
yeah.
little. I
It's a
like it.
beautiful verse, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of when somebody says to me, "I'm finding it really difficult to sleep at night." And I say, stop trying.
Right. I've told people that have trouble sleeping, I was like, all right, well, stay up as long as you can,
Yeah.
and it's like, eventually you're gonna fall asleep. Like, I don't know why, why it's so difficult. Like, you're not sleeping. That's okay. Get up and do something else. Whatever.
Yeah.
You'll eventually get tired. Like, yes, we have, I got an alarm that I gotta get up to, and I gotta da 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 da, but again, it's like, if those are things you want to be able to unburden, right?
That's
You want to
right.
unburden yourself with the alarm. You want to unburden yourself, and like, you're just like, but my job. It's just like, okay, well, what's going on here, right? Like, here's this identity that we're holding on to, and yes, there are, like, if we're stuck in identity, if we're stuck in this world of the manifestation, and we believe the manifestation is more important than everything else, then yes, you better get to work on time. But that's just not my problem.
I just think to myself,
Yeah.
if you fill yourself with these burdens, it doesn't allow you to see beyond them.
Right.
And that's the thing. So when you unburden yourself each day, you get to see more. It it unblocks your vision and your openness to what is in front of you, what's in the flow with you,
Yeah.
what your
I mean,
part is in life.
every time you pick up something, that thing you pick up starts to influence you, because
That's
you picked
right.
it up. Now it's taking a little from you, and it's like, it's adding definition, but those definitions aren't necessarily truth.
Mm.
You're down to 3 seconds on my end, so you're going to get cut down, I think. I don't know how this all works, but oh, Lois is coming up. Thank you, Julie. I appreciate you coming in and chatting. We're going to Lois. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Marjan?
I am well. Um, I spoke to Heidi, and I know that you guys were talking not long ago as well. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking a couple of days ago.
Yeah, I think we all talked on the same day.
Yeah, she invited me to come to Ireland, so I've been
Yeah.
looking at plane tickets. So you go? Are you go? She invite you?
Yeah, I can't make it because I'm in the middle of a contract that I'm working on these days, so I can't. And then I'm going to be going to Spain in May. My
Oh, okay.
cousin's pregnant, so I want to get out there before she has another child.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good. Well,
Yeah.
my family and I just got a call yesterday that one of my last two aunts passed away. So.
Oh, okay.
But we're already on the way to California for my niece's master's degree graduation. So,
Oh,
um,
congrats.
yeah, that's what I tell her. Congrats to her, man. She worked her butt off
Yeah.
with one kid that was 2 years old and a kid in her belly and new marriage and all that kind of stuff. She did that damn thing. Okay,
Oh,
she says, Auntie, I just thought of you. Okay, I was like, God
okay.
bless you, child. Hey, well, you know what, Marjan, I ain't letting nothing stop me from doing nothing. You know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
There's
so she took a page out of my book. She
good.
said, I just took one of your pages.
And we all,
So
like, that's the thing. We all need those sorts of influences in our life, like,
yes,
especially like the overcoming of obstacles. When people don't see that it's possible to overcome obstacles, all they do is complain that obstacles exist.
yeah. So
But
so
it's like,
I'm gonna say this to my credit. This is the seventh person that has gotten an advanced degree either at mine or above it. Okay,
nice, nice.
because of what I've done.
Yeah.
And this is them telling me, you know what, I looked at you. You had three kids, and you went back to school in your 40s, and you got straight A's. And no, I ain't got no kids. I'm going to get a PhD, and they did.
No, see,
two,
and that's,
two of them.
and
Okay.
and somewhere along the line, maybe it wasn't for the advanced degree, but you were inspired too. And this is something that just goes on
Yeah.
generations. And when the Tao talks about the idea of like you exist for generations, or you become
Yeah.
you become immortal. That's because of things like this, where it's just like
Yes.
you've inspired someone to get a higher degree. They're going to inspire people to do things, even if there are obstacles in the way. And
Yeah.
that's how we inspire each other.
Yeah, that's how we glean from each other as well. So, yeah, let me pick a number. I haven't picked a
Please,
number in a long
yeah.
time. What's today's date? Let me get number 16 since she graduated on the 16th.
Stillness and integration. Being empty of mind is of the utmost importance, and it is to be guarded with fervor. We have all seen states of action arise, and always beyond it returns stillness. When any state of action is complete, it naturally returns to stillness. That allows integration of what arose from action, which is the natural cycle of maturation. If stillness and integration cannot be achieved, constant action will lead to anxiety and wild movements. Yielding to stillness makes one impartial, and all particular things fall away. When it is time to die, one can be impartial to that as well.
That's good. That's good. It just that's Marge. It always let me know I'm headed in the right direction.
Yeah.
Because even though my aunt passed away yesterday, I'm at peace and I sat with it. Now I'm not gonna say it doesn't bother me, but I'm more grateful that she's no longer suffering. Okay, that it's that part because she couldn't breathe. Okay, she was on oxygen for the last 5 years, and 2 years ago when I saw her last, she thought she was going in. Okay, so we had a good conversation and all kinds of stuff. So but being still, so that you can integrate what's going on and happening. And the thing is, that's like we work, we up and we have our wake time, and then we have our sleep time. And if we don't get our sleep time, it's like what you just said. Things go awry. You can't put things together. One, because your brain and your body has not had time to rejuvenate, like let all those mechanisms that they do every night when we sleep during different hours. If you look at the Chinese body calendar, and you'll see that at a certain time of night, your kidneys are cleaning. At a certain time of night, your pancreas is doing it. At a certain time of day, this is doing that. And if we don't get our rest, we don't even get that done to us, and then we end up with poisons in our body, and then the poisons turns to disease or inflammation, and then inflammation turns to disease.
That's right.
So
And then
this is some real stuff.
And then we argue for our own ailments. Because
oh my gosh.
And that's the anxiety and wild movements, right? Constant action will lead to anxiety and wild movements. Our wild movements are like literally arguing for our ailments.
Because we were taught that when somebody tell us that we are something, we adapt it. And the thing is that I know that no matter what I did, with all 46 of the diseases they said I had, I never claimed them to be mine. I never said, my this, my that, my this. No, that shit wasn't mine. It was happening to my body, but it was not mine because I'm pure love, light, energy, and can't nothing touch that. So all that sickness was all a figment of me believing in having that limited belief system, or them LBSs I was carrying around, all them limited beliefs about disease, and my family had it, so I'm gonna get it, and if this is happening, because I was told all this stuff. But when I did my own research, I found out that you can get it because your family got it. You're just predisposed, and to be predisposed mean that you can get it if you do the same things your family did, and eat the same things your family ate, and handle stress the same way your family handles stress. Yes, you'll surely get it, but that's just a predisposition. You can do things differently and not get it or correct it. And so what I did was I recognized that energy can't get sick. I'm totally healed already. And so all I do is eat and do exercise and do whatever I do to maintain health. So I don't have to worry about it. Okay.
And that's right at the beginning here, where it says being empty of mind is of the utmost importance and is to be guarded with fervor. The whole point of that, like that really kind of lays the groundwork for this entire verse, because what you're saying is like, yes, you're predisposed to get it. But if you're predisposed to get like type 2 diabetes, like, is your empty mind, or is your mind full of the fact that you're predisposed to get type 2 diabetes, right? Like,
Yeah.
which is your mind,
I
empty
was
or
so
full?
afraid of it. Wait, I'm gonna say this, Martin John. I was so afraid of it, and I was fighting against it till next thing I know, I got it.
Yep.
Okay,
And that's the thing. That's why
and
being empty of
it
mind
made no
is important.
sense. It made no sense because I was regular height, regular weight. I just got pregnant, and I had gestational, and
Yeah.
that scared me, and it warned me that, oh my God, this could happen to me. And so I was fighting against it, and whatever you fight against will persist. So
Yeah.
I would say you got to be still,
That's right.
because the minute I stopped fighting against it and started fighting for the health, or we're not necessarily fighting for the health, but just doing things to maintain the health came. But I
Right.
love you more, John. I'm at
I love it.
Sharente's now. We're getting ready to drive out to my
All
niece's
right.
graduation. So I'm gonna get out the car, and
All
it's
right.
raining, so I got a lot of stuff to do. But I love you, and
Love you.
thank you, and it's good to see you
Absolutely. My
again.
best to the whole
All
family,
right,
and congratulations to your niece.
all right, okay,
All
thank you.
right.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.
If anybody else wants to step up and pick a number between 1 and 81, this is essentially what Tao of the Day is. You come up, we chat a little bit, and then you pick a number between 1 and 81. That will give us a starting point to look at the Tao Te Ching. I'm going to go back to number 16 here. Lois picked number 16. I really like this verse quite a bit, as it talks about being still. It talks about essentially mindfulness or meditation or whatever. But it gets into a lot of things, like Lois and I were talking about, like that which you resist persists. What you put your mind on, what you think about persists in your life. Being empty of mind is of the utmost importance. That way you can be present with who you are at this moment. Just be here, be now. Being empty of mind as you are, without the identity, without who you think you're supposed to be because you're living under the influence of other people or other ideas. I always talk about things like you're born and you live under the influence of your parents because you don't have a frame of reference. So you're under the influence of your parents. Your parents want certain things from you. You have a reward punishment system that you follow. You figure out what is wanted of you, what is desired of you, and you fill your mind with that. And now that mindset could persist your entire life, or you can learn how to be quiet. You can learn how to be mindful. You can learn how to meditate or do other things that help breathe life into yourself. And through that, you can then allow actions to fall and rise rather than constantly be acting. Right? We are all of a generation who were probably raised by people who did things and who were things, who had labels, who enjoyed those labels, who embraced those labels, and they wanted us to embrace labels, and they wanted us to support the label that they put on themselves. I'm a good mother, and you're going to be a good child to prove that I'm a good mother, right? Like things like that. And that's a moment of action, right? You act, but then as we get older and recognize that actions yield eventually to stillness. And when we can yield into stillness, then when that state of action is complete, we can allow us to integrate that which we learned. Right? If we like if your mother told you to be a good child, and then she was allowed to be still long enough to recognize, oh, I don't want my child to be quote unquote good because I don't even understand what good is. Good came from someone else telling me what good was. A good child is this or that. And, it's like, if the mother can then recognize that, oh, wait, I don't want my child to be good. I want my child to be healthy. I want my child to be itself. I want my child to be who they are. And if this is who they are right now, well, how can I support that? And I'm not trying to say, like, if your child is addicted to a phone, well, maybe take your phone away from it, right? Like little things like that. There are things like, can your child be still? Are you promoting stillness in your child's life so it can actually be who it is? Or is it constant action? This is why children are so full of anxiety. This is why children can't calm the fuck down, because they've been given stuff, like the phone. And so there's constant entertainment, constant stuff coming in. So there is no stillness. And without stillness, we find that anxiety and wild movements sort of rule the day. Yielding to stillness makes one impartial. You don't have to be a thing. It's like when you start doing something, you're like, I want to be better at this. I want to be better at this. I want to be better at this. And that's what we talked about earlier in number, I think it was 38, from Julie, when we were talking about the idea of identity and holding on to your identity and not being able to be whole, right? Everything that, let me see. It's The More You Know was the title of it. 48, The More You Know. Yeah. Pursuing knowledge you accumulate daily. And when we say pursuing knowledge here on 48, which we read earlier, pursuing knowledge is pursuing what is the right thing to do. What is it? What do I want to do? Pursuing knowledge is like, how do I make other people happy? How do I build my own value? You accumulate daily. What are you accumulating? Rules and regulations and ways to do things the right way, turning your true nature into a commodity. Pursuing Tao, you unburden daily, allowing your true nature to guide you. And so when we look between these two, 16 and 48, we see that there's stillness and integration, and pursuing knowledge you accumulate daily. That's an action. So you can pursue knowledge, but every day you also want to diminish, release, and deprogram, as it says in 48, right? The master unburdens herself again and again. You accumulate this action from this action, and the idea is to let it integrate. And then once it integrates, you can let it go from your mind so that you can be empty of mind yet again. And then allow all of these things to integrate. And then there's no rule. There's no absolute rule out there that you have to abide. There simply is who you are right now. And who you are right now isn't attached to an action, isn't attached to a rule or an identity. It's just who you happen to be. Thank you so much for joining me, Lois and Julie, for 16 and 48. I appreciate that. And they connected really well, I think. Anybody who's listening, thank you for joining me and us for Tao of the Day. Tao of the Day is a program that I do, and maybe I'll be doing it again on New Vibe. I haven't done it in a while. If you're interested in the Tao Te Ching, the text that I read here on Tao of the Day is from my translation of the Tao Te Ching. You can find that in my profile. Other than that, I hope you guys are having a great day. Enjoy your weekend, and until next time, keep recovering yourself.